Scott, thanks for joining us. The games are coming thick and fast. MK Dons at home tomorrow. What are your thoughts heading into that one?
Yeah, game we're ready and looking forward to. We want to challenge ourselves against good teams, and obviously they're a good team. And yeah, we take the challenge on and look forward to the game.
Yeah, and it's, I suppose, easy to pick out some of their, bigger threats, especially after a 5-0 win. But what is it that you sort of looked at since you've been doing your analysis on them?
Well, they haven't conceded a goal yet, so that's quite impressive. In the three league games that they've played, they've not conceded a goal. So, and also to look at the XG that they've conceded, no one's really had a big chance against them. So they don't give you many opportunities to score. So they're very, very good in terms of that. Of course, they've got real attacking threats as well. Rushan, who we know, scored on Saturday, good goal as well. So yeah, listen, they've got a lot of attacking threats. They're defensively really strong, and they've got players in the middle of the pitch who we know as well who can handle the ball and can play and can run. So yeah, good team.
Yeah, and certainly in the last 20 minutes of Saturday's performance, we were creating a lot of chances. So I imagine in that sense, as we spoke about, confidence is fairly high because we know we're going to be getting in some dangerous areas and we've just got to start putting the ball away now.
Yeah, I think I was encouraged by the second half performance, or certainly the last probably 30 minutes, 25 minutes. Certainly when we made the changes as well, thought that, we looked more of a threat and we created one or two chances, certainly in that last bit. So signs of encouragement, again, against a really strong team. I think that the games that we've had have been hard, two really difficult away games in the shape of Grimsby and Crewe. I think both teams will be probably in and around it. If not, maybe one of them might sneak in the automatics for sure. The Newport game, I felt that we probably deserved something from it with the gilt edge chances that we had, but we didn't take. And of course, we come up against MK Dons, who again, with the recruitment that they've had this summer, you would back them to be around it as well. So, we've not had the easiest starts, but we take it on and we relish it, and we look forward to another good game. And each time we're playing against these good sides, we can only improve from it, and we can only try and learn from moments in the game. We debriefed the game from Saturday today. We looked at areas in which we felt that we can be more connected as a team. We looked at areas where we felt that we come second in moments of the game and where we need to improve. So, good meeting, trained well today, feeling is okay in the camp in terms of you wouldn't think that we've lost 3 games, and where we are in the division. We know that we potentially should have maybe 4 points on the board and not 0 from what we've played, in our opinion. So, unfortunately, football doesn't always go out the way you want it to. And there might be some times along the way where we pick 3 points up and probably don't deserve it. That's happened as well. So let's just see. We just got to keep together, keep fighting, keep believing, and looking forward to taking on challenges such as MK Dons.
Yeah, we spoke about the impact that the substitutes made at the weekend. Is there any sort of chance that they could be pushing for starts, or is it a little bit too early on the basis that some of them could potentially not be ready for 90 minutes yet?
There's always a chance, when you come on the pitch and make a difference. There's always a chance, and that's what I want. I want, it's not just the 11 players out there. Everybody in the squad, even the players who don't travel, they're important to us because we're going to need every player. Not every. We're not going to pick the same 11 every week. That's impossible at this level of football with the amount of games that we've got coming thick and fast, like you say, Saturday, Tuesday. And then you've got injuries, suspensions and such like. So we're going to need every player. So, yeah, there's always a chance that players play themselves and sometimes train themselves into the starting lineup. I've seen some players really train well and you start thinking about, right, we need to play this player because they train so well. We always go back and watch the training sessions back and reflect on, what we've seen and sometimes players can play their way into the team and train their way into the team.
Yeah, we spoke about how the players can obviously have an impact. The fans can have a massive impact. It's going to be a good atmosphere. It always is here, especially on a Tuesday night under the lights. So, yeah, as much as the players can have an impact, as we spoke about in countless interviews before, the fans can make this a really hard place to come, can't they?
Yeah, definitely. I've always said it, when I was a manager, before at Swindon, and I come here, and it's a difficult place to come, and I think it's a really tough place for anybody to come, whether they're good, bad or indifferent. It's tough. And, you know, we know the pitch, we know kind of the atmosphere, how it kind of blends into the stadium, and the fans are great for us here, you know, and they are away from home as well also, just to add to that. But yeah, it's important that the fans get behind us and, you know, really kind of cheer the boys on tomorrow night. And listen, I know that we've got to give them something to cheer about. We understand that, you know, I get that, and let's hope that we do. You know, I want to see us be a real kind of attacking threat. We're not going to score goals if we're not. Certainly against a team that are stingy at the back like MK are. You know, they've not conceded a goal yet. And like I say, their XG against is really good. So we're not gonna break the door down if we're not going to have a go. So we've got to have a go, and I want the fans to really get behind the boys.
Yeah, finally, according to our stats, Saturday's game against Crewe was your 100th game in charge of Crawley in competitive fixtures. Yeah, so obviously, how do you reflect on those 100 games?
Yeah, obviously I love it here. You know, I've had some brilliant times, like obviously the Wembley situation was great. MK DONS away from home, you know, with the 8-1 aggregate scoreline for the semi-finals was great. You know, even Hartlepool away in my first season when we had to win and we kept them up that day was a fantastic day as well, albeit probably the wrong end of the table, but it was still a big day for the club. And yeah, I've really enjoyed my time here, and you know, over 2 spells now. We just want to try and build something now. It's just the start of a journey. Obviously, new ownership, which is going to be good for the football club, and we've got to try and build something on the pitch as well, which again, it's the start of a journey. We're very infant with that at the moment. You know, we're early stages of what we want to do and how we want to do it. We don't want to lose wholesale players every window, which we have done in the past. We want to try and settle that down a little bit and have a little bit more continuity within the club. And I think to add to that as well is over the 100 games that I've had, it's actually, you know, been difficult times as well. You know, there's been some real difficult times with kind of losing players as well. And, you know, like I say, we when we played at Wembley, I think the season following, we had probably 3 players left from that Wembley team, you know, and that's tough to take for a manager and to continue, you know, coaching a new set of team or a new set of lads is sometimes hard, you know, and we want to try and get to a position where we haven't got to do that every season or every window. Certainly we want to add to the squad and not just keep, you know, chopping it up every window. And that's kind of like the experiences I've had over the 100 games. But like I say, I've really enjoyed it. I absolutely love, you know, this football club. I feel it's my club. I feel that the relationship I've got with the fans is second to none. You know, I think they're class. You know, even on Saturday we lose the game. I think we showed a fighting spirit in the game, which is why they applauded us at the end. It's quite emotional actually, because we're desperate for the lads to do well, and I'm desperate for the fans to see us win a game and score some goals to make them happy. You know, and you know, I'm actually sad about the fact that we're not yet. We haven't kick-started our season yet, and I really want that to happen.
Brilliant. Sticking with 100 games, was there a point early on in your management at Crawley that you realised this was a really special club, and what makes it such a special club?
Yeah, I think probably the Hartlepool game actually maybe was the point where I did think that, because you know, the crowd, you know, the fans travelled a long way, right, the other side of the country, and I remember kind of celebrating at the end of the game and going into the dressing room and thinking, yeah, this feels proper, like, you know, and then kind of settling down the next season. And I really liked the fact that we were backed to be relegation favourites. I liked that. It helped us. And the fact that we built a narrative in the dressing room that, you know, we used it, and we liked the fact that we were underdogs, and I think that's helped. I quite like being an underdog. Anyway, you know, I think it helps kind of me create an environment almost like us against the world type of environment, and I like that about the club. I think that we're always going to have that. We're quite a small club in many ways, and I think it helps us. I think it's helped certainly my success since I've been here.
And where do you see the club in 100 games' time?
Well, listen, talking to Raf and where we want to go is, we want to go through the leagues. We want to go through the leagues. That's going to happen eventually, I think, but it might take a bit of time. We've got, like I say, build a continuity with the playing staff, and to try and not have wholesale changes every window, where we can add one or two and try and build a continuity. I think when you look at League Two, certainly last season, all the top 7 who finished in the top 7, their managers had been in post pretty much 2-3 years. Apart from probably Stuart Maynard, who had been in post about 13 months maybe. But everybody else, Graham Alexander, Jacko at Wimbledon, Matt Sadler at Walsall, they've been there 2 or 3 years. So you look at that's continuity. That's kind of having a manager in post, for a long period of time that then can get a way of working within the football club, a way of playing on the pitch. And I think that we need to have that. We need to have a bit of stability, not just with the management team, but also with the players as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously MK Dons tomorrow. How do you reflect on your time at MK Dons? I know it was only a short
5 months of learning.
5 months of learning.
Yeah, that's how I reflect on it. 5 months of learning.
Yeah. And how much is it chalk and cheese what the squad was like then for MK Dons than it is now?
I don't really know. I've kind of watched them as a team. I've not really looked at the ins and outs of their squad as such. I think it's important that I focus on what they do in possession, what they look like out of possession. How can we hurt them? How can we stop them? They've signed some unbelievable players for the level, in my opinion. It's almost like, the recruitment that they've done is just, far above the level. Fair play to them. If they've got the money and they can do it, no problem. That's great. Good luck to them. And they've signed some brilliant players for the level. That's added to some players that were there that were very good as well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know kind of how Paul would see his squad. Would he want to add to it? I honestly don't know, but I'll focus mainly on what they look like as a football team as opposed to a football club.
And I remember the promotion-winning season. You played MK Dons at a pretty similar time, I think it was, at the Broadfield Stadium. And I think you won 2. They were unbeaten when they came here. And I think it was Orsey's first goal as well. And it was, I just remember the night and the fans, and it always comes back to me, is you're looking for that kind of atmosphere.
Yeah, that'll do. We'll take that. We'll take that right now. Yeah, we played well that night.
Yeah.
We played well that night. And I remember actually gifting them a goal. I think we played out from the back in one moment and they stole it and scored from it. But actual fact, I thought we were outstanding in the game. I thought we really dominated the game that night. And yeah, we'd take that again.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said in the last couple of interviews about how much you need help in terms of the squad and that. Are the owners listening? Or can we expect any more signings?
Yeah, definitely. Listen, the owners have been brilliant, and Tobias and the work that's been going on in the background's been incredible. We're working so hard to make it happen. It's not as easy as probably people may think. We spot a player, we get them. We get a lot of due diligence done in terms of watching and understanding and asking, and there's lists of players, and there's a lot of work goes in. I'm literally on my laptop the whole time I'm at home. We're always having conversations about what we need to add. What does the profile of the player look like? That's before we've even spoke to the player or the agent or the club. And then, of course, then the negotiations start. Do they sit into the budget? Which is challenging.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a lot of work going in the background, and we're fully aware of what we need and how many we need, and we're close. We're close to making a few happen now. But it has been frustrating, but I think it is. I think the momentum of what we signed probably after Kyle Scott stopped a little bit, not through the want of trying, but just kind of. We didn't sign after Kyle Scott. It just seemed to slow right down, and I would have liked the momentum to continue a little bit, but through circumstances it didn't. But I do know there's a lot of work going on in the background, and yeah, a lot of support from the owners for sure. And we'll get it right. You know, we're close to doing a few. Maybe even one going to be in time, probably for Saturday. So we just have to wait and see.
Brilliant. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.